Today in the mail, I received 2 books that complete my ACE Science Fiction Specials Series 1. I have my ACE Science Fiction Specials here in chronological order, at least as close as I can according to the lists that I find on the internet. I picked up Pavan by Keith Roberts because the copy that I had this ink price stamped onto it. So the new copy doesn't, and they're in very similar condition. With the exception, my new copy has a very faded spine, whereas the old one didn't. I can live with that. So my new copy goes into this spot. And that leaves me with this book, The Witches of Cars by James H. Smits. This is a reprint from earlier in the series. The second book that came out as an ACE Science Fiction special was The Witches of Cars by James H. Smits. You can see that it's in this older style where we have a square on top, a square on bottom, and the title in between. There were 12 books issued this way until the design changed. The problem is this book is not in the lists. As you can see though, this book does exist and it does have a science fiction special on it. It does have a Leo and Diane Dillon cover. It's a repeat of the cover from the second book in the series. We can see that image is the same. So where does this book fit in the series? So I went online to do a little bit of detective work. I found a site that had the ACE doubles and singles image library, and in it, these books were categorized by their numbers. For this book, the number is right here. It is 89851. When I looked up that number online, 89851, James H. Smits, The Witches of Cars, cover by Leo and Diane Dillon, copyright 1966. This is one of the ACE Science Fiction Specials first series. Note that the date is not on the copyright page. An AIL user, thank you Bill, indicates that the publisher on the title page includes a division of Charter Communications, which only came into being in September of 1970. So let's take a look. So we see here copyright 1966, but no publishing date. Right there, it says an ACE book by arrangement with Chilton Company. So that tracks that this is going to be published after September of 1970. Going back to the note. In addition, the advertisements in the back are unnumbered, but later become numbered in November of 1970. So this was printed either in September or October of that year. Oh, the fun of tracking down ACE publication data. So if that user information is right, this book was published somewhere in September or October of 1970. So where does that place us in the list of publications here? Well, there's something interesting on the spines of the book as well. So as we take a look at the spines of these books, we notice that the top part of the spine has ACE book. ACE book, all the way along here. Continues here. And then when we get here, we notice that we have ACE SF for 3 books. Then I see science fiction. Then I see nothing, just ACE book. Then I see science fiction again to finish out the series. This is the last book in the series. I think that this book right here is actually out of place. 1 million to Tomorrows by Bob Shaw, I believe that this book actually should go in front of where we have SF as well. So it might be in that position there, one of the last that just has Ace Book on it. Then we have Ace SF, and then we have the word science fiction on the spine. So let's take a look at Witches of Cars. Witches of Cars has science fiction printed there below Ace Book. So we know this is 1970, late 1970. So which is the one here that was printed first in 1971? Well, that would be The Traveler in Black by John Brunner. The one before it is a reprint of the very first book in the Ace Science Fiction Specials. We can go back here, we'll see right there, Why Call Them Back from Heaven by Clifford D. Simic. Then we have The Witches of Cars. I think they reprinted the first one. It even has a bit of a different cover design because now we have the title here at the bottom with the author's name larger at the top. And then we have the Leo and Diane Dillon cover. This one doesn't match either in terms of design. The cover might be about 2/3 of the image, and then we have the name and the author. So these are mismatching. They don't match those that go before or after. Here's the one before, and here's the one after. I think these reprints fit right here. Both of them are printed in 1970. So they come before The Traveler in Black, which is the first one printed in 71. And they have Ace Science Fiction on their spines, matching the other books printed from the 70s. So my theory is the Witches of Cars reprint fits between the reprint for Why Call Them Back from Heaven by Clifford D. Simic and The Travelers in Black by John Brunner. So I now have the complete Series 1 of Ace Science Fiction Specials. Of course, I do have an asterisk after the word complete in the thumbnail for this video. I have not and do not plan to purchase the reissue of The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin. For me, it's not worth the expense. I'll show you a comparison of the two here on the screen. The one on the left is the first issue of The Left Hand of Darkness, and it actually is a true first issue of the book. It was printed before the hardcover printer was printed. You can see the second one, it has the same book number, is actually a reprint because it has the crest saying that it won the Hugo and Nebula Award. So that's the asterisk under my complete collection. I do not have and I do not plan to get that reprint. Until next time, keep collecting, keep reading.